Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for the final of the Singapore Sevens. This one, Kenya taking on Fiji, a rematch at the stadium that happened in 2016. It's been a big circle since then. We've seen the Fijians have moments of greatness, gold medals under their belts, series titles. For the Kenyans, we have seen massive upsets, relegation, promotion, and they're back at the moment. This could actually theoretically be their last leg on the regular Sevens circuit if they are demoted in the last leg. But for now, they have the chance at glory. The Kenyans in the starting lineup, little bit of concern because Patrick Okongo is going to be making his way off the bench rather than in the starting side. He had a bit of a knee injury in the last fixture near the end of the game, so they're going to try and use him as an X-Factor player rather than in the starting lineup. But for Kenya, it is going to be Kevin Waikesa, Samuel Azati, Nigel Amaitsa, Floyd Wabweri, also George Oro, Festus Safari, and Vincent Onyala, the last man in the starting side. For the Fijians, it is Josefa Talatholo, Georgie Nasova, Seville Mothanothangi, George Balsi, Felipe Satoranga, Tera Wailangi, and Sakiusa Sanila. So a pretty similar lineup to what we saw from Fiji in their semi-final match where they were able to beat the Argentines. Looking at current form for these two teams, both undefeated up till this stage of the competition. The Fijians getting a big win over the USA, 38 points to 0 in their opening fixture, then beating New Zealand 38 points to 5. And then that semi-final up against the Pumas, who did finish third after just beating the Spanish. They won at 33 points to 24. Looking at the Kenyans, they have managed to get 3 wins in a row. One up against the Irish in their opening contest, 17 points to 7. 10 points to 7 over the French, which was a massive win, and a big one after that in their semi-final where they beat the Spanish 12 points to 5. But the two sides now making their way out onto the field. We are about to have the national anthems, and then we will be underway for what is, like I mentioned, one of the most important games for Kenya of this year. The most important, though, will be their playoff game in 1 month's time. They will have to find themselves fighting for a spot on the circuit. I think it's ridiculous that that is even something that could occur with the fact that they're sitting 9th in the overall standings. But that's the system that they've gone with. We see there Patrick Okongo singing the Kenyan national anthem. And for a lot of these young players, this will be the first time that they've had the opportunity to do so. Even some of the older guys haven't probably been in a final scenario like this one here. But of course, do let me know what your score predictions are for this match, ladies and gents, who you think will be winning, and also who you think will score the first try of this match as well. Others the same as if South Africa won, says revenge. And when are we streaming this match, or where are we streaming? So the best bet, depending on where you are in the world, will depend on your options. The World Rugby Sevens website will have a where to watch tab, and you can see exactly where you can watch depending on where you are in the world. Okay, bye, I'm watching the game now. I will shout, keep on chatting, and we have there Kenya will win, says Lat Fan, and there as well. It would be a massive underdog story. The Kenyans, though, surprisingly, not coming in as massive underdogs in the betting odds. And I think that is because of what they've been able to do throughout their first 3 games. They've been competitive. They've beaten some great sides. And that win over the Spanish in the semi-finals was certainly an important one. We have got there, where can we stream the match from? Depending on where you are in the world, will depend on your options. So like I said, that World Rugby Sevens website has that where to watch tab. But a lot of the options, sadly, aren't free. They are through paid subscriptions. And I think that that is also extremely rough that they got rid of the free option of watching the Sevens, because there's so many people all around the world who just love watching this sport. It is fast-paced, it is entertaining, it pretty much personifies these two sides in terms of the atmosphere that they create from one game. But yeah, it's going to be a massive game. The Fijians ready to try and claim their throne. They did start the year off with a win in Dubai, and now they want to finish it strong as well. They will finish second in the overall standings, ladies and gents. If the Kenyans win, they can get a maximum of 20 points, but sadly that still won't be enough to take them out of that relegation zone. They will still be ranked 9th at the end of this contest. But the starting lineups, like I mentioned, not having Patrick Okongo makes me quite concerned for the Kenyans. He will be making his way off the bench, and I'm sure he will have an impact when he makes his way on. But I feel like with him not being in the starting lineup and with him not being 100%, that could be a massive game changer. Fiji have so many dangerous players. Felipe Saturanga is in tears. Big moment for that man who has been extremely strong throughout the Singapore Sevens comp. We have got there, how did South Africa bomb out? They did lose to Great Britain in their opening contest by about 25 points. They then beat Argentina, but due to losing that game so substantially, their first match, it meant that at best they were going to be playing off for 9th place, in which they did get when they were able to beat the Australians. Kenya says Bahati there. I need a try from John, says Olavu. And also we have their Fiji Faves here. Kenya need fast and hurry tries. Well, that's the thing. They will have to play competitive rugby for 14 minutes because getting one first half or the second half right for Kenya, I don't believe will be enough. They need to have a perfect game plan, and the biggest game plan that they can have is don't let the Fijians touch the ball, because as soon as they do, that is normally when they've scored, and they've done it throughout the rest of their games. Kenya have scored 7 tries from their 3 matches. Fiji have scored 15, maybe even more. Good afternoon, evening, mate. Says Bleacher, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing well. A lot of Kenyan supporters in the chat by the looks of it with the Kenyan flags, which is absolutely awesome to see. But Kenya will be kicking off this one from left to right, and the Singapore Cup final is underway for the men, and George Balsey takes it off the kickoff. Sanila already starting to find a bit of space down the wing for Josefa Talatholo, threatening the offload, and that is something that can be so dangerous. Although Kenya, they have been sensational in the breakdown, managing to get multiple turnovers throughout this competition. They'll need a few of them here. Te Rawailangi on the far side of the field, look for the offload, but the ball rolls into touch, misses the hand of his winger. I believe it was Mothinothangi who was looping around. We have got there, I remember the last time Fiji versus Kenya in a Singapore final. Kenya won that night. I couldn't sleep, says ZKN. Yeah, it's pretty much a full circle of what happened about 9 years ago. But these two sides here, like I said, since then, gold medals, promotion, relegation, everything has happened for them. I mean, we've had a whole situation that happened in the world since then as well, but Kenya's still firing back and looking to have possession now, sitting about 30 metres out from the line. Ball comes out the side, but it's held on to by Oro, passes across Onyala. Having to duck underneath was Wabwere. He's out on that wing due to Patrick Odongo Okongo, making his way off the bench rather than starting. Now another offload coming for Onyala, driven backwards by George Balsey. Both very physical sides on the circuit. They've been told to release him. Balsey still tried to go for the strip. Now short side, chance here for George Oro, breaks through one, and they get to within about 15 metres, but there is a knock on from Kenya, which does mean Fiji will have the scrum. One of their players is lying flat on his back here. He does not look too flash and has hardly moved. I think he might have taken a head knock. That is the physicality that you will see from both of these sides. They will run over the top of each other. They will keep on smashing into the opposition, but they still normally get up, and that is exactly what's happened here. Back to his feet now for Georgie Nasova. And he's another guy that they need to keep out there on the field for Fiji. He has scored the most tries out of any player in the men's sevens circuit for this year. And Kenya says Bahati. And there as well on Team Kenya says Richard. And Go Kenya says George. So a lot of Kenyan support. Normally the Fijian flags are the ones that we see more of, but it seems like Kenya at the moment have got the crowd behind them. Felipe Saturanga feeds the ball in. Good counter scrum from Kenya, but it will still pop out on the side of the Fijians. Georgie Nasova tries to go through, moves up to the 22-metre line. Azati playing at the ball, was allowed to go for it, but he pulled out as he thought the ref was going to penalise him. Talatholo, another offload now. Fiji numbers on the near side of the field, close to a forward pass. Out to Te Rawailangi. 35 metres out from the line, and the penalty goes the way of Fiji, but Kenya not rolling away. Let's go, boys, says Mahada Hani. Hopefully I've said that correctly. Sanila passes on the outside to Georgie Nasova. They missed the low tackle on him. Now it becomes a foot race, but Kenya are winning it and managing to take him down inside of the 22. Not many people can keep up with Georgie Nasova, but Kenya in the breakdown. Do they get the turnover? Yes, they do. And that is outstanding. Oh no, referee decides instead now penalty, as one of the Kenya players did leave his feet in the breakdown. George Balsey takes it quickly off to Josefa Talatholo Sevomothinothangi, trying to break through, gets through one tackle, sitting 15 metres. Oh, that's a big punch almost from Mothinothangi. I think it was supposed to be a fin, but it came off as a bit of a right hook, knocked down by Oro. I think the referee just needs to get control of this game. There are quite a few things that are being tested. There was a knock-on from Fiji, a knock-on from Kenya, but they're going back to see if this was an outstretched arm of Sevomothinothangi. If it was, it's certainly not the time to be practicing your boxing when you're in a final of the Sevens circuit. They are TMOing it. Right, Sevomothinothangi, we'll see it here. Oh, yeah, elbow to the side of the head. I think he was going for the fend, but the hand slightly missed it. Oh, in fact, it wasn't quite the elbow. It was more so the forearm, and then he followed through and got the elbow. I think some MMA fighters would have been proud of that one. It's nothing foul pin. Yeah, I don't think he meant it. Oh, there's foul play, though. He struck the opponent. They're going to give him a yellow card here for Sevomothinothangi. And it looks like the crowd are not happy about that one. It now means that Kenya have got a man advantage for the next 2 minutes. But Mothinothangi going for the fend, missed him, got him with the forearm, and then kind of sliced across. It means that he will be off the field for the next 2 minutes. And that is a massive hit because he has been one of the standout players for the Fijians throughout this competition and will continue to be when he makes his way back out onto the field. A yellow card says Matthew Ntoso. And Kenya. Fiji discipline problem as always, but Kenya will now be able to kick this ball into touch, doing it nicely. And that'll be about 38 metres out from their own line here. Still 0-0 between these two sides. Well, 20 of the crowd are a bit angry about that card. Says Bleshinen, come on Kenya, says John. And Kenya to lose, says it man. And there as well. Kenya, I think that just said haven't conceded first in all of their games so far. That's going to be overthrown, but it does go into the hands of Kevin Waikesa. Off to the left-hand side here for the Kenyans. Step in nicely. Ball on the inside. Moving up to the halfway line. George Balsi has made a lot of tackles already throughout this final. A bit of a low pass there from George Oro, but well controlled by the Kenyans. Now looking for that next gap on Yala. Can't go through. Now short side attempted from Kenya. Isolating himself here. And he just gets driven into touch for Wabwere. And Kenya Naholo, says Jason, and also very good, or very defensive Kenya. And they're from Blues Nate Go Fiji Go, says Welchman. I should mention anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are going to be back for the next leg of the Sevens. It is happening in early May, and that is when we see Kenya fighting for their spot on the Sevens circuit. And also Fiji fighting for the championship. It's going to be a little knock on from Kenya, the back of their line out. In fact, that was probably a little bit of a lifeline for the Fijians as they did end up dropping the ball on the line out. Fiji are currently on a 14-game winning streak against Kenya dating back to 2018 in Vancouver. So these two sides, they've got a bit of a one-sided history, but of course, that 2016 game when they were able to get themselves the big win, Kenya, it has been their only gold medal to date. And I'd like to change that counter. Scrum again was strong from Kenya, but the ball and the penalty has gone the way of Fiji. Tosa Veti Tosa says Ratu, and Kenya goes says Smart Muscle Jim. 10 years ago, I thought Kenya would be a seven superpower. They've had their moments. They have caused upsets that have cost certain sides titles, you could say. They've also been relegated. They got promoted back up last year, which was fantastic to see because they never should have been taken off the circuit in the first place. But now 70 seconds remaining in this first half. We still have a whole other 7 minutes that will be played. Saturanga ready to feed this ball in for the Fijians. No one scoring as of yet, but that does not mean we won't see points by the end of this first half. Thrown in again, this time claimed nicely by Josefa Talatholo. Saturanga going back across to George Balsi now. Tries to bump through the Kenyan defence, but that is sensational work from Safari to be able to hang on to him almost through with Saturanga. Going to be held up, manages to get the offload away. Oro almost tackling a man off the ball, playing it on the ground, so that will be the penalty going the way of Fiji again. Kenya's discipline at the moment, letting them down a little bit. Now, Fiji decide to take the quick tap. Felipe Saturanga going off to the left-hand side now. Talafolo pops it up to Terawai Langi. But again, Kenya just in the fight. They are trying their hardest to be able to get those turnovers in the breakdown. Only 10 seconds remaining in the first half. Now, it has been a brutal final between these two sides. Another offload. Balsi got it away to Sanila, who did drop the ball forward. Fiji giving away the knock-on advantage. Kenya going for the kick in behind. They're going to back their pace. It's going to be one-on-one. Saturanga tries to get back, but he doesn't win the foot race. Kenya does, and they will score in the final right at the end of the first half. What a sensational moment for Nigel Peterson and Maitsa. But pure pace from Kenya, being able to get in behind and also just biding their time, waiting for the potential opportunity to be able to get it. But Sanila dropping the ball. If I remember rightly, he had a moment in the last match for the Fijians that did cost them a try. That one has been a brutal one, though, to make the mistake off. And Kenya now take the lead in this final. Amaitsa says Brian there, and you can see how much it means to the side, the emotion from this Kenyan team. And that kick has gone over as well, making the score 7-0 to Kenya at halftime. They are in the box seat. And now all they have to do, just similar to their game up against Spain, is just make sure that they don't concede. This time we're going to bring it home, Kenya, says Jones. And we love your commentary, says Ndugu. Thank you very much. And like I said, anyone who is new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Like I mentioned, we're going to be covering Kenya's games taking place in around a month's time, where they play off for their chance of staying on the circuit, which I think everyone wants to see. No one wants to see them relegated to the Challenger Series. On this series is where they belong, and we're seeing that here, pushing one of the strongest sides in history, Fiji, in terms of their accolades. And go Kenya, says Byron. Kenya to the world, says Gavin there. We take this, says Pencil. And Kenya, says Eunice. Fiji, says Kepu. So there are still a few Fijian supporters feeling like their side can get back into it. But the fact that Kenya lead at halftime is an absolutely massive one for them. They are the underdogs in this match. Even at this point in time, I would still consider them the underdogs in this contest, as Fiji know how to score points in extremely quick succession. Currently, Kenya are the favourites. Commentate about the game. It is half-time, Ben, so that is why there hasn't been much commentary in the last 30 seconds or so. But as soon as it gets back underway, we will be straight back to the play-by-play action. Kenya, the supporters' darling, says Bain. Yeah, these two sides, fan favourites across the world. Whether you have another side that you support, normally your second or third team are Fiji or Kenya. And absolute commentary, should I call you the Drury of rugby, says, where did it go? It's going that quick at the moment. Ndugu, commentate, Ben, it's still half-time. So there's nothing happening other than they're showing the Fijian coach at the moment just focused, trying to find a way of G'ing up inside. But Fiji about to kick off the second half, so Ben's about to also get his wish. And let's go, Kenya, says the Modern Moran. And there as well. But Fiji kick it off high. And now Chance just travelling the 10. Slapped back by Fiji. That is where the danger is. When they retain their kickoff, that is normally when they score. But now rolling this one back across to the right-hand side here for the Fijians. I do see that Tani Vanuakula, I should say, has made his way onto the field. But Georgie Nasova, he's trying to get his 25th try of the circuit. Back across to the left, Seville Mothanothangi has returned from his yellow card. Vuivua Nadovalo also has made his way onto the field. Talafolo, couple missed tackles on him, gets his offload away, and Nadovalo will score the first try for Fiji in the second half. Now, that is something you don't see too often from this Fijian team. They have run it around to make it an easier kick. Normally, they're that confident or that far ahead that they don't need to do that, but they know how crucial these extra points could be up against this valiant Kenyan effort. A great run from Nadovalo. Talatholo, one of the biggest players out there on the field, so he does use his size to his advantage. Long limbs getting the offloads around the back of players, and that kick has gone over from Fiji, which now means the score sits 7 points to 7. 7 all. And now it's going to be kicked high from Felipe Saturanga, back underway. Fiji not out. Oh, in fact, they do get that ball. Kenya have a fumble. and Fiji again are in possession. They have started the second half maybe in a similar fashion to how they wanted to start the first. They just weren't able to do so. Georgie Nasova backtracking towards halfway. Good two-man tackle. Kevin Waikesa locking over the ball, trying to have a crack at it, looking for the turnover, but he gives away the penalty in the process. Quick tap taken by the Fijians. Felipe Saturanga offloads it up to Sevu Mothinothangi. Wide cutout pass. Chance here for Talatholo. Kevin Waikesa makes the low tackle. In fact, that time was George Oro, and another penalty goes against Kenya for the player not rolling away. Starting to have back-to-back infringements here at the worst possible time when Fiji are just starting to get their rhythm. Saturanga, ball on the inside. Nasova tackled early. Mothinothangi in over the ball. Kenya looking for the turnover, but I think maybe this ball's going to roll onto the side of Fiji. There was a knock-on from Kenya in the breakdown. We have got there Kenya, says Ndugu. Also Kenya from Fiji from YouTube user. This game has been an absolutely frantic tempo between the two sides. They are going to be exhausted. We've got to remember where they're playing. Singapore, it is humid, it is hot, and the pressure is on because this is the final. You don't get a second chance. You either win it or you don't. Kenya have been waiting 9 long years for their chance to be able to win it again. They cannot let this one go through the fingers. Chat going faster than the Highlanders' chances this season, says Jason. And Kenya go, says Duke. And also we have got the Kenyan flags all throughout the chat, as well as a few Fijian ones as well, supporting Fiji from Switzerland, says Amalie there. So thank you very much for tuning in to the stream. We've got a bit of a stoppage here as they set the scrum. Both sides just saying, listen, can we have a bit of a breather here before we put our heads down? I think Talatholo strategically having a bit of a chat to the ref. And what that means is you buy a few extra seconds to then put the head down. But Felipe Saturanga ready to put this ball in for the Fijians. They are 30 metres out and in a good position to get a set piece going. Does just about come out the back. Yes, it does, going away to the left-hand side, straight through. And Fiji with Vuivewa Nadovalo, Mr. X Factor, scored 2 tries so far. And I feel like he wants his third. 10 tries in the 7 circuit this year. 2 of the most valuable ones coming in just this last little moment. And Kenya says, Anthony, Kenya got this, boys. No second chances, only this chance. Says Derek there. Nadovalo diving over. Massive dive. Could have hurt himself, which of course they wouldn't have wanted. Never mind the players. You need to take a breath, mate, says Flesh. And yeah, it's been a frantic pace. I'm going to be out of breath by the end of this game if they continue at this rate. But we are 3/4 away through the match. Kenya are down by 7, but they are not down and out. They just need a bit of possession, which Fiji have not allowed them to have throughout the first 3 minutes of the second half. Tosso Vititoso says pop smoke there, but it's going to be kicked off now by the Fijians. Felipe Saturanga, he has got quite a few of his kicks correct so far. And this one has to be no different. Kenya need the ball, and they need an attacking play. And I'll tell you what else they need. They need Okongo to make his way onto the field. But now work towards the sideline. Some physicality shown by Fiji, but they got 2 players off the field at the moment from making that tackle. Onyala kicks it downfield. Would have almost been a 50-22 in a game of rugby union, but it will be the line out for Fiji in this final in sevens. A decent choice there from Onyala. I think he was just about to be tackled, so decided to get those few extra metres in the process as he was a bit isolated, but it does give the possession back to Fiji. And Tosso Vititoso says pop smoke there, line out throw here for Felipe Saturanga. Nicely claimed by Josefa Talatholo, sticking one hand up and manages to take it now off to the right-hand side. Stepping is Georgie Nasova, yet to cross the try line in this final, but he still leads by 1 try up against Marcos Maneta for the overall try-scoring tally. 2.5 minutes remaining. Fiji only 10 metres out from their line. Ball out to Josefa. Talatholo gets through one. Looks for the offload. He finds it again. And now it's going to be a foot race. Kenya trying their absolute hardest to get back, but they will not quite catch up with the Fijian replacement, Vakadranu, who does score a very important try here for Fiji. What a nail-biter of a game. It's lived up to expectations. There were concerns going into this contest that it could be one-sided, but Kenya were in the fight for the first half. They've just struggled to handle that offloading of Fiji throughout the second, and Talatholo, I don't know how many arms that man supposedly has. He's got more than an octopus at this point, because every time they tie up one, he seems to find another to be able to flick that ball away. The kick has gone over from Manueli Mai-Samoa, and that now gives a decent lead to Fiji. 2 converted tries down the Kenyans are with 1 minute 40 remaining on the clock. They need a big moment here. We see there the second half, we've seen 3 uncontested tries from the Fijians. Kenya need to break this chain, and they do not have long to be able to do it. Saturanga strategically uses 10 more seconds for taking the kickoff. It is long as well into the 22. Kenya passes on the outside off to Kevin Waike. So I think Patrick Odongo-Okongo's leg must be pretty brutal, because I would have assumed that they would have put him out there. But because he got injured in the last game, it means that they weren't able to use him here. And it's been the big difference maker, Brian Tunga. Good power shown by Fiji to be able to cause another tackle inside of the 22 and slow down the momentum of Kenya. Big shot on George Oro, wrestled down, keeping the ball on the side of the Kenyans, who once again will shift it off. Theoretically, they just have to score before 40 seconds. Then they'll still have one last kickoff that if they retain, they would still have one last chance. Brian Tunga again gets the pass away. George Oro fighting for the extra meters. There was partially maybe a knock on in the breakdown there, but it's going to be play on for Kenya, who passed the ball out wide. Chance here in a bit of a foot race. Saturanga misses the tackle. Kenya need to run it round to make it an easy kick, and that is exactly what they have done. This game is not over, but they're celebrating for too long. They have to take this kick and get it back to halfway. They're waiting for a while. Oh, has he missed the kick? Yes, he has. In front of the post, probably only 15, if not less, meters out. And the kick has missed for Kenya, which does mean even if they were to score and convert again, they would be short by the 2 points. The game is not over, but that kick needed to go over. Now Kenya, they will be kicking this one off. Oh, come on, Kenya, says Tasha. Congratulations, boys. Love my team. Fiji says it was there from Philomena. The ball back on the side of the Fijians. The full-time siren has sounded. Manueli Mai-Samoa kicks it into touch. And the Fijians, they won the first leg in Dubai. They finished the last leg in Singapore with the gold medal as well. And now they build momentum heading into the competition next month. Now, first of all, extremely valiant effort here from Kenya. All I'm going to say is from watching this game, I don't think there would be one person who says that Kenya deserve to be in that relegation zone. They finished 9th for the overall standings of the season, got 18 points from this contest. Now next month they have to fight for their spot, which I think is just ridiculous. The support that the Kenyans get in the stands, the emotion that they bring into the game, and the flair as well. They're similar to Fiji in that regard, that they have some of the best fans around the world for sevens. So the idea of them getting relegated just doesn't sit right. Congratulations, Fiji from the Solomon Islands, says Welchman there. Ntosa Vetitoso says Ratu. And Drew Hamish says Blues Nate, and there as well. But fantastic effort from the Fijians. They were pushed in that first half. Kenya ahead by 7 at halftime, but the difference maker was possession. As soon as Fiji started getting that ball just that little bit more, it made it a whole lot more challenging for Kenya to be able to hold them out. The 7 setup is a mess. I agree. Like, if you've got 12 teams, have maybe the bottom 2 in the relegation zone. Don't have the bottom 4. You're losing 33% of your competition. Can you show the standings, please, says James. I don't have them that I can pop up, but I can tell you what they are at the moment after that result. Vanaka Kiwi Lad says Akosita, thank you very much. And we have got there, Tosavititoso says Amos, and there as well. So we will get these 7s up. Kenya lost, that is true, but still a massive, massive impact or massive effort from this Kenyan side. They gave absolutely everything. So the overall standings for the men's, Ladies and gentlemen, Argentina finished top of the bunch on 104 points. They already had it secured when they went through to the semi-final. Fiji finished second in the overall standings, 96 points, and they received 20 for getting the gold. In Singapore, Spain finished with 88. They finished third, which is a whole lot higher than a lot of people would have anticipated. South Africa in fourth on 70, France in fifth on 65, Australia on 57, New Zealand on 56, Great Britain on 50. So now the bottom four sides at the end of this competition. Kenya are sitting in ninth. They got 18 points, but it still put them 14 points behind Great Britain, who were in eighth. Uruguay on 27, 23 for Ireland, and only a sheer 12 for the USA. But those four sides that I just listed, they all have to play up against the top four Challenger Series sides in a month's time. We are going to be covering it on the channel as well. True, Kenya don't deserve to be in the relegation zone, but any extra game for them, the better. As an emerging nation, the more games means fans have more games for them to support them. It's a win-win, says Rapati. It is only a win-win if they win that relegation promotion game. If they lose, they are back to the Challenger Series. They no longer get to play New Zealand, Fiji, Argentina, South Africa, France, all these top sides that, as we've seen here, they can test. So, it would be a long year for Kenya if they don't win that next game, which I really hope they do. I would absolutely hate to see it be Kenya versus Samoa, because I think both of those sides should be on the circuit. Sadly, at the moment, only one is. Kenya won over the Springboks earlier this year too. Says Jonathan, yeah, Kenya, they deserve to be on the circuit. And, I don't think they should have gone down to 12 teams. I think that 16 teams worked perfectly. And there was no need to change it, but money apparently talks. When we're going to see you next, Hamish. So next will be next weekend. We will be back on the channel for Super Rugby as well as the Champions and Challenge Cup competition. So be sure to check that out. Also, a couple of videos throughout the week will be coming up on the channel as well. But anyone who is just tuning in now, end score 21 points to 12. Was a close contest. Kenya having 2 tries throughout that first half, but it was the second half that we saw the impact really coming for the Fijians. Amaitsa scored it right at the end of the first half. William, it was Indikalu, scored it in the 14th minute for Kenya. And then for Fiji, Nadovalo got 2. And then also Vakadranu got 1 as well. As France Live next weekend, says Mohadin. French sides will be in action for the Champions and Challenge Cup. I think Kenya will win their playoffs. I hope they do. And, the Seven circuit isn't the same without them. We learned that when they dropped it from 16 to 12 teams. Just didn't seem right to see you on the Shark Tank. We aren't actually covering the Sharks game anymore though, Robert. I have been called to work early tomorrow morning, so I won't be able to do both, unfortunately. And saying no to work would get me in more trouble than saying no to that stream. But we are going to be covering, if they win, their Challenge Cup quarterfinal next week, as a bit of a make-up type of situation. The coach for Fiji kind of improved in Singapore, but should have done it in Hong Kong, says James. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Fiji struggled last week, but they made drastic improvements in this contest. They scored about 20 tries throughout the competition from only their 4 games. And I think Kenya, they scored 2 tries in this match. They've averaged around 2.3 for the whole competition. They just needed that little bit of extra something in this contest up against Fiji. Their defence, I thought, was relatively solid. They didn't let easy tries in, but they just needed something else, that X factor. And honestly, I do think it was Patrick Odongo-Okongo. The fact that he wasn't able to come onto the field due to his injury in the last matchup where they were able to beat Spain, that for me was a massive difference maker. Because if we look through at Kenya's other matches that they have played already, Okongo-Odongo scored both of the tries in the last match up against Spain. In the match prior to that, where is it? We will go up to it and just find it. That was actually yesterday that the match up against France took place. They managed to score themselves 2 tries. It was Onyala and Amaitsa who did score those. And then in that first contest up against the Irish for the Kenyans, we did see, one moment, I am scrolling through, we saw the try from Patrick Odongo-Okongo, Amaitsa, and also Waikesa. So Amaitsa has had a really good tournament in terms of the tries that he's been able to score, but losing 3 of your 7 tries from the first matches that you played, that makes it difficult going into a final. But all credit goes to Fiji as well for the fact that they were able to fire back in what was a pretty tough sort of contest. Definitely after earlier on, playing up against the Argentines. They've had two brutal contests in terms of pace. They will definitely be enjoying the ice bath and a few celebrations after this. I invite you for a carver session, says Titalea. I do want to go to Fiji at some point. I'll definitely have to put it on the calendar in the next few years, I would say. And Kenya, I wish Team Kenya all the best. And yeah, like I said, in a month's time, we are going to be covering the relegation promotion games as well as the Champions games on the channel. So anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is greatly appreciated you all being here. I'm surprised that they haven't said that the game is over yet. It is 21 points to 12 as the final score. And just that last kick missing for the Kenyans when they did score late, that really did take the wind out of the sail. Thanks again, Hamish, says Bruce. No worries at all. Yeah, it's been greatly appreciated, you guys all being here all throughout, not just the Singapore Sevens, but all throughout all the other leagues. It started in Dubai, Cape Town, Perth, Vancouver, Hong Kong, and now for Singapore. Next week, it's going to be next month, early May, when that one has taken place. Will we survive relegation? I really hope that the Kenyans do. Because, like I said, it's just not the same without them. Can you forward passes and Knox prove we get nervous? Sometimes I understand we underdog, but come on, says Austin. Yeah, I think Kenya got a lot closer in this game than a huge amount of people gave them credit for. Some felt like Fiji were going to run away with this contest, but this was anything but a runaway. This was a challenge for the Fijians where they had to dig deep. And like I said, after a tough game up against the Pumas, just one extra try for Kenya somewhere in the middle to break that chain, because Fiji scored 3 times in a row, and that was brutal. That pretty much took Kenya out of the contest, even though they were able to get themselves that last-minute try as well. But they needed something else in the middle to break that rhythm. Kenya set to improve after the likes of Indira left, says Paul. And how did South Africa Sevens do? So South Africa for the Sevens, they finished 9th for this leg. But we have seen, a few surprises along the way. Even Spain being in the top 4 yet again shows how far they have come just in this season. They finished 3rd overall in the standings, which was fantastic to see. And then, like I said, we've just seen Kenya come into a shortened competition knowing that this was their last shot to really show people what they could do. Because, yes, they've got their games next month, but this one, to make it through to the final, it just says they aren't a team that should be relegated. And yeah, I really hope they win their game. Kenyans appreciate the commentary. We're united in your comment section for this one. No live links over here. It's a massive shame as well, because they used to have it free to air for the finals, or even just day 1, day 2 of the Sevens. They used to show free to air on the World Rugby Sevens website. And they got rid of that when they cut it down to only 12 teams. And I think that's another problem with only having the 12 rather than the 16 sides. Is for some reason they stuck it all behind broadcasters where you have to pay a whole heap of money each month to be able to watch it. And when you only get 1 or 2 Sevens leagues a month, if that's the only thing you're watching, it's not worth getting the subscription. So, we're going to be here for every league of the Sevens. We have been since the 2020 Olympic Sevens, and we're going to continue doing it in the future as well, just because we've met so many awesome followers of the Sevens, and it just helps you guys out who can't actually see the matches due to those restrictions that they do have. Kenya's a young team. Everything is new from team to management. We will be back stronger, says Anthony. Yeah, if this is a young Kenyan side and they've been able to put in a performance like this, they have a very bright future, because these guys, not having Patrick Odongo-Okongo for this final as well, the fact that they went out there, they challenged Fiji without their X-Factor player, and they still looked at times like they were going to cause an upset. That is a massive bonus. Why France playing early, says Mohadine. If you're talking about France Sevens, it's because they were playing off for 12th place and they finished dead last in the Sevens leg. They are just showing the trophy ceremony. New Zealand and Fiji both lifting their trophies and also wearing their gold medals. Like I said, Fiji winning the first leg, also winning the last. And then everything in between, we've seen some fantastic work from Fiji at times, but also a lack of that consistency that they have been known for in the past. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Like I said, we're going to be back next month early on for the promotion relegation round and the champions round, where Fiji will be taking part. Kenya we're hoping they're going to stay on the circuit because we've had a lot of fun covering their games this season. This has been by far their best leg that they have had, making it to the final for the first time in a long time. Hopefully many more to come in the future as well. Kenya is a good team, so is Fiji. But the only thing that is missing from them is the communication, the right mindset in the game. But it was good payback done to Argentina from Fiji. Says James. And later, everyone. Later. See you next weekend, bro. Says Matthew. And there too. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for being here. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of your month as well. If you are only watching for the Sevens, we will get to see you guys early May for the Los Angeles League. And that is going to be taking place just in terms of the exact date, the 3rd and 4th of May for us here in New Zealand. So be sure to pop on back for that one. But thank you all very much for being here. And I will see you all for the next one.